Welcome back to The Cellar. This story takes place in Oconee County. Oconee County is the westernmost county in the state of South Carolina. With a population of around 79,000 residents, the county is broken up into multiple communities. Seneca, Walhalla, Westminster, Salem, West Union, Fairplay, Thomasee, Long Creek, Newry, and Utica. The town of Salem, South Carolina is a relatively small one, with a population that hovers at around 135 residents. It was Sunday, November 26, 2023, and 83-year-old Dorothy Louise Downey was at her daughter's house in the quaint town of Salem, South Carolina. Her daughter was in the process of moving to a new residence, and Dorothy was there to provide her daughter with all the support that she could give. This particular house that Dorothy's daughter was moving out of was an old one that had been built back in 1920. What no one realized leading up to this day was the fact that the house had secrets that were about to come to light. From all reports, Dorothy's daughter had lived in this house for some time and had never had any issues. So the mother and daughter continued their work, packing up items and moving stuff out of the house. That brings us to around 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Dorothy would walk through the house and into the kitchen. As she did, a sudden snapping noise would be heard. In an instant, the house would seemingly swallow Dorothy whole. Dorothy's daughter would frantically start calling out to her mother. She peered down through the hole that was now located in her kitchen floor, but she could not find her. She would proceed to head outside, where she would enter the crawl space under the house. But as minutes continued to tick by, Dorothy was nowhere to be found. Eventually 911 was called and emergency services would arrive. It would take the fire department 4 hours to locate Dorothy. By the time they did, they found that she had already succumbed to her injuries. So what happened? Well, it turns out this old house had a secret hidden underneath. From all reports, the family was aware at the time that the kitchen floor had some issues with rotting, but never in a million years did they know something else was hiding just beyond the rotting floorboards. For Dorothy, she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. As she stepped on the floor, it finally gave way. Dorothy would fall through the kitchen floor and would continue falling another 48 feet into a hidden well shaft below. This well shaft had been concealed by the house most likely 100 years earlier, where it remained hidden all the way up until Dorothy's fateful step. Now, this second story doesn't have a ton of information, and there are differing reports as to whether or not those involved did in fact survive. But I decided I wanted to touch on the story either way. So this story takes place in Andover Township. Andover Township is located in Sussex County in the state of New Jersey. The town has a population of around 6,000 residents. 2 of those residents, Paul Stiller and his wife, were really bored one night. So bored that they decided to do some driving at around 2 a.m. in the morning. But driving around wasn't deemed exciting enough in its own right. So Paul thought, hey, I have a great idea. Why don't we take this quarter stick of dynamite I have, and we'll throw it out the car window? Paul and his wife would proceed to hop in their car and start their now exciting adventure. At some point in the drive, Paul made the decision that it was finally time to light that quarter stick of dynamite. The lighter would click a few times before the wick would finally be lit. As it started to spark and burn, it's unclear who was actively holding the dynamite at that time. But whether it was Paul or his wife, it doesn't ultimately matter. The couple turned to throw that dynamite out the window, but a critical error had been made. The windows in the car were still all up. The stick of dynamite would bounce right off the window and go careening back into the car between the married couple. Based on reporting, it's unclear what exactly transpired next, but from what I gathered, the dynamite would bounce around in the car and go off between the couple. Both Paul and his wife would suffer numerous injuries, and I did find in some of the reporting that Paul would succumb to these injuries, while in other reports I found that the couple both narrowly survived this ordeal. Either way, I think this couple has rightfully earned themselves the honorary Darwin Award. As has so famously been said, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Now, this next story takes place back in 2007. For those of you that remember, back in 2007, the new Wii game system was all the rage. Every family was looking to get their hands on one, and they were almost impossible to come by. This leads us to January 12th, 2007. KDNDS's morning show, The Morning Rave, was holding a contest, and the winner could win, you guessed it, a brand new Nintendo Wii game system. The contest was titled the Hold Your Wii for a Wii, which sounds exactly like the title states. Contestants would be forced to not relieve themselves for as long as they could. The one who holds out the longest would win the ultimate prize of the Nintendo Wii.
Hey, we're giving out the Nintendo Wii tomorrow morning. Are you ready?
Absolutely. It's for my wife.
Are you a good holder?
I think so.
We're going to start it at 6:20, and then every 10 minutes, you guys are going to drink, I think it's 8 ounces of water. Yep.
From all reports, 17 contestants were brought into the studio to participate in the competition. The contest started at 6:45 a.m. Each contestant was given 250 milliliters or 8-ounce bottles of water. They would need to proceed to drink another 8 ounces every 15 minutes moving forward. As the contest continued on, the amount of water given to the contestants was increased, with many talking on air about the physical discomfort they were now dealing with.
Oh my gosh, look at her belly! Are you pregnant? Come on over, Jennifer. You okay? You want to lay down? What do you? She can't even walk. You're gonna pass out right now. It's too much water.
Jennifer, I heard that you're not doing too well.
My head hurts. They keep telling me that it's the water, that it'll tell my head to hurt and then it'll make me puke, but...
Who told you that, the intern?
Yeah.
That's one of those over there?
It hurts, but it makes you feel lightheaded.
Time would continue on, and contestants would start to bow out, one by one. What's alarming, though, is a call that was placed to the radio station during the contest. As a nurse called in to inform the DJs that the contest could be dangerous and potentially fatal. The DJs, showing little remorse or worry for what was transpiring, would respond to the nurse by saying that they were fully aware of the risks, but they weren't worried because the contestants had all signed releases and they wouldn't be able to sue them afterwards.
Eva?
Yes.
What do you want to say?
I want to say that that those people that are drinking all that water can get sick and possibly die from water intoxication.
Yeah, we're aware of that.
They sign releases, so we're not responsible. It's okay.
And if they get to the point where they have to throw up, then they're going to throw up and they're out of the contest before they die. So that's good, right?
Oh, that's neat. I suppose so.
Yeah. All right. How come you guys didn't do it?
Looking out, though.
We don't want to die.
Oh, okay. Let me ask Carter if anybody's dying.
We ain't dying.
Hey, Carter, is anybody dying in there?
We got a guy just about to die.
Oh, good. Make sure you sign that. I like that we laugh at that. Yeah.
Make sure he signs the release.
Get the insurance on that, please.
For contestant Jennifer Strange, well, she was determined to win that way. The 28-year-old mother of 3 knew how much her kids wanted this video game system. So as the contest continued on, no matter how much discomfort Jennifer was in, she kept pushing through. After 2 hours into the contest, Jennifer was visibly not doing well. Her stomach was extremely bloated, and her body was screaming for some form of release from all the water that she had consumed. Jennifer was in a bad way. Her speech was slurred, and her happy-go-lucky demeanor that she had started with had all but faded away. After pushing for as long as she could, Jennifer would end up placing second in the competition, losing out on the Nintendo Wii but snagging a pair of tickets to a Justin Timberlake concert instead. Jennifer would soon leave the radio station at around 9 a.m. Feeling absolutely miserable but still pushing through, Jennifer would call out from work the rest of the day and make her way home to lie down. Her co-workers, fearing for her well-being, would place a call to Jennifer's mom to go check on her. A few hours later, Jennifer's mother would discover her daughter's lifeless body lying in a bathtub.
As a contestant on 107.9 The End, Strange drank 2 gallons of water in just 3 hours, hoping to win a Nintendo game system. Strange was runner-up, but only hours after going home, the Sacramento County coroner says she died the apparent victim of water intoxication.
An autopsy would later confirm what was already believed to be the culprit: water intoxication, a condition that occurs from drinking too much water, which then upsets the balance of electrolytes. Drinking too much water can decrease the sodium in the blood to dangerously low levels. This can then lead to all sorts of mild to life-threatening problems: confusion, nausea, vomiting, or all symptoms, while severe cases can cause seizures, coma, and even death. Jennifer was believed to have drank over 2 gallons of water during the 2-hour competition, a fatal amount her body simply couldn't handle. Following Jennifer's death, the radio station would fire the DJs of the morning show, while Jennifer's husband would file and ultimately win a $16.5 million lawsuit settlement. But no matter how much money was paid out, a loving mother of 3 was lost, and there's no way to fix that or bring her back. On April 28, 1988, Aloha Airlines Boeing 737-297 was scheduled to make a flight between Hilo and Honolulu, Hawaii. The aircraft itself was built in 1969 and was the 152nd Boeing airframe built at the Renton Assembly Plant, which is located in Renton, Washington. This particular airframe had accumulated over 35,496 flight hours prior to this departure. This included 90,000 flight cycles. Flight cycles are defined as completed takeoff and landing sequences. This high number of usage was more than twice the number of flight cycles for which the airframe was originally designed. Another interesting piece of information was that Aloha Airlines operated, at the time, the 2 highest flight cycle Boeing 737s in the world. The captain of the flight was Robert Schornsteimer, an extremely experienced pilot who had accumulated more than 8,500 flight hours, with more than 2/3 of those flights being in a Boeing 737. At 13:25 Hawaii Aleutian Time Zone on April 28th of 1988, Flight 243 departed Hilo International Airport. The plane took off with 5 crew members and 90 passengers on board. This flight was the 4th round-trip flight of the day, and no prior issues had been reported with any of those earlier flights. The takeoff and descent went just as planned. The aircraft would reach its normal flight altitude of 24,000 feet. At about 23 minutes into the flight, chaos would ensue out of seemingly nowhere. A loud bang and whooshing sound would occur in the blink of an eye. A section of the left side of the plane's roof ruptured and peeled back like a soda can exploding outwards. The captain was startled as the plane started to roll left and right. Doing all he could to keep the plane under control, the captain would glance behind him and find, to his horror, that the cockpit door was completely absent. The captain saw nothing but blue sky within the first-class section of the plane. The section of plane now missing measured a length of roughly 18 feet long. It was now chaos within the cabin, as the 90 passengers feared for their life. Many clung to their seats, hoping and praying that they would somehow survive this unbelievable situation. the captain of the flight managed to get the plane under control and began emergency landing procedures. They diverted to Kahului Airport, and as they made their approach, the left engine would fail. At this point, the captain did all he could to keep the plane under control and try and land it safely. Miraculously, they were able to make a normal landing on runway 2, a full 13 minutes after the incident had begun. In the aftermath of it all, a total of 65 people were injured to varying degrees. The injured would be shuttled some 3 miles away to a nearby hospital. 8 people were deemed to have suffered serious injuries, while remarkably, only 1 fatality occurred. That fatality was an absolutely horrifying one, as 58-year-old flight attendant Clarabelle Lansing was standing near the 5th row seats when the roof was torn away. Being that she was not seatbelted in and was at the wrong place at the wrong time, she was within an instant swept straight out of the plane. From all reports, she was there and then she was just gone. Her body, to this very day, has never been found. An absolutely horrible way to leave this world. The U.S. National Transportation Safety Board would conclude that the accident was ultimately caused by metal fatigue. This was exacerbated by crevice corrosion. The 19-year-old aircraft had operated in a coastal environment. The constant exposure to salt and humidity caused corrosion to take over, and the age and continuous use of the aircraft led to a horrifying tragedy. Our next story takes place in Orange, Texas, on July 2nd, 2015. Tommy Woodward had just recently moved from St. Louis to Orange, Texas with his twin brother. They both were working at a local shipyard, and during their downtime, Tommy would do what he loved to do best: drink beer, shoot pool, and in general, have a good-ass time. This evening was no different. As the night carried on into the morning, Tommy decided he wanted to go for a swim. Tommy was drinking at Burkert's Marina, a beer and burger joint in Orange, Texas, that is located along the waters of Adams Bayou. A no swimming sign had been erected a few weeks prior, as a very large alligator had been seen lurking within the murky waters of the bayou. This sign had mostly been ignored, as numerous residents of the area took to swimming regularly and didn't heed the danger that can come with such large reptiles in the area. Tommy was determined at the time to go swimming. The bartender on duty pleaded with him, but all reports say that Tommy was stubborn. When he set his mind to something, there wasn't anyone or anything that was going to get him to back down. Tommy would then proceed to take his shirt off and empty his pockets as he prepared himself for the late-night dip. Just before he was about to jump in, a friend of Tommy's named Victoria LeBlanc would notice a large gator within the waters around the dock. She immediately warned Tommy about the gator's presence. Tommy simply looked back at Victoria and made the following statement: "Fuck that gator." Tommy would plunge into the waters below. He began to swim out near a small island located within the bayou. As Victoria looked on, she watched in absolute horror as the large gator would emerge from its murky depths and latch itself onto Tommy's arm. Victoria would jump into the water to try and provide aid to Tommy, but Tommy screamed at Victoria to get back on the land. She exited the bayou and ran inside for help, and 911 would immediately be called. The bartender, following the 911 call, would grab a flashlight and head straight out to the dock. It is said that it took around 5 minutes or so before they caught a glimpse of Tommy, who was now face down near the pier. As they looked at Tommy, the gator would snag Tommy's body once again and pull him below into the depths of the bayou, disappearing into the night. Help would soon arrive on scene, and it would take over 2 hours before Tommy was finally located. His lifeless body was found face down, with one of his arms completely missing from the elbow down. Following the incident, an autopsy was performed. The results showed that Tommy had drowned during his ordeal with the alligator. This particular reptile had been a pretty big one, as it was estimated that the alligator was 11 feet in length. Tommy Woodward would become the first person to be killed by an alligator in Texas since 1836. It just goes to show that you could never underestimate a wild predatory animal. They are unpredictable, and all it takes sometimes is a mere seconds for them to end a life. Mildred Bowman, a retired 62-year-old cleaner, and her sister Alice Wardle, a 68-year-old retired bakery worker, would spend a lot of time together. Both women were widows and grandmothers from Gateshead, England, a town located in the Gateshead metropolitan borough of Tyne and Wear, England. These two retired sisters would typically go on vacation with one another 2 to 3 times a year to the country of Spain. It was Saturday, July 30th, 2005. The sisters embarked on a flight to Benidorm. Benidorm is a seaside resort on the eastern coast of Spain. It is part of the Valencia region's famed Costa Blanca, a popular Mediterranean holiday destination known for its nightlife and its 2 white sandy beaches, Levante Beach and Poniente Beach. As the sisters arrived in Spain, they would proceed to check into the Levante Club apartments. As they settled into their apartment, the pair made plans with other family members to meet up the following day. As the day turned to night, the two sisters would head to bed, looking to get a good night's sleep before heading out to see the sights the following day. The next day would begin, and as family of Mildred and Alice awaited their arrival, they would never show. As more and more time would pass, the family of the two sisters would begin to become more and more concerned. It wouldn't take long before the family began searching for them. Days would pass as the family checked out all their favorite places to visit within the area, but no sign of Mildred or Alice was found. 5 days in total would go by before answers were finally discovered. From all reports, the cleaners at this apartment typically clean the rooms on Mondays and Thursdays. On Monday, an attempt was made to access Mildred and Alice's room, but they found the door was locked from the inside, and so that apartment was skipped for the day. This wasn't deemed unusual at the time, as sometimes people simply don't want to be bothered, especially being that the sisters were only a couple days into their stay. But as Thursday rolled around, and once again the cleaners could not access the room, suspicions arose. A maintenance technician would soon be called to gain entry into the apartment. What was found inside is not for the faint of heart. The two sisters had gone to bed together Saturday night. The particular bed that they were sleeping in is known as a Murphy bed. A Murphy bed is a bed that is hinged at one end to store vertically against the wall or inside a closet or cabinet. From all reports, as the sisters slept Saturday into Sunday, a horrifying scene would transpire. Investigators found that the bed the sisters slept in had not been lowered correctly. This caused the base of the bed to be tilted instead of it being horizontal with the bed unit on the wall. To add to it all, the screws and plugs on the bed's wall storage unit were not fitted correctly. These screws and plugs would give way and cause the unit to collapse on top of the sisters as they slept. The two sisters were trapped and unable to free themselves from the entanglement they now found themselves in. The most horrifying thing is that it is ultimately believed that sometime Saturday night or Sunday morning these events transpired. The sisters would remain trapped within the bed until finally being found on Thursday of that week. Worst of all was the outcome of the autopsy report, which showed that the sisters were both alive for days, as they didn't die until sometime between 11 p.m. Wednesday and 2 a.m. that Thursday morning. They laid there trapped, slowly suffocating with one another for for days before finally succumbing to the horrifying situation they were in. Following the tragedy, the family would push for manslaughter charges, but ultimately, after a 4-year-long inquest, the charges would be thrown out by a Spanish judge. From all reports, the family could pursue a civil liability case, but I was unable to ascertain if anything ever came from that. At the end of it all, my thoughts go out to the families of Mildred, Alice, and anyone who has lost someone to such a horrible fate, as it just goes to show once again that seemingly normal, everyday things that we do could spell the end for any one of us at any given time. Dreamworld is a theme park and zoo that is situated on the Gold Coast in Queensland. In 1974, John Longhurst had always wanted to build his very own theme park. He would proceed to purchase 210 acres of land beside the Pacific Motorway in Coomera. After 7 long, hard years of work, the theme park would officially open on the 15th of December, 1981. Over the years, numerous different themed locations would be added within the park: Kenny and Belinda's Dreamland, Ocean Parade, Rivertown, Tiger Island, Main Street, and Corroboree. According to reports, Dreamworld hosts around 1 million visitors each year and has a massive staff of more than 1,200 people. The park would go on to be known as the biggest theme park in Australia, with over 40 rides and attractions. Gold Rush Country, now known as the town of Gold Rush, opened back on the 11th of December, 1986. This particular area of the park featured rides like the Eureka Mountain Mine Ride and the Thunder River Rapids. Today's story occurred in October of 2016 at the Thunder River Rapids Ride. At the time, the Thunder River Rapids Ride was known as one of Dreamworld's 9 family-friendly attractions. The ride was made up of several circular rafts. Each raft has the capacity to carry up to 6 riders each. The ride ran 410 meters, or 1,350 feet long, and had a maximum speed of 45 kilometers per hour, or 28 miles per hour. A full trip around the ride would typically take about 4 minutes to complete. The ride took passengers on a trip first through a cave. After exiting the cave, riders would be transported through the main river rapids portion of the trip. Passengers would then be taken under the Eureka Mountain Mine Ride station before heading back towards its own station. In order to depart the ride, guests were brought back up to the station's level by a conveyor belt. Kate Goodchild, her brother Luke Dorset, and his partner Rusbe Aragai were all enjoying their day with numerous other family members at the Dreamworld amusement park. As their day progressed, they made the decision to go on the Thunder River Rapids ride together. Kate, Luke, Rusbe, and Kate's daughter would proceed to board the ride. In order to meet the ride's occupancy of 6, Cindy Lowe and her son would end up joining the group after being separated from her husband and 6-year-old daughter. The ride would commence, and all went as it should for the 4-minute adventure. The trip through the cave and out into the rapids was enjoyed by everyone on the ride. The ride would finish its circuit around and begin its ascent up the conveyor belt in order to unload the guests back at the station. But it would become apparent for all the passengers that something wasn't right. Now, for rides like this, a specific amount of time must be given in between each raft so that a collision does not transpire anywhere along the ride's predetermined path. But as Kate, Luke, Rusbe, Cindy, and the children approached the conveyor belt, they were stunned to see the raft that had gone before them was now stuck. From all reports, the raft had become stuck due to a malfunction of one of the ride's main water pumps. This caused the water level to drop and left one of the rafts full of people stuck on some support rails, unable to reach the unloading station for the ride. As the second raft began its ascent up the conveyor belt, a horrifying scene would commence. the second raft would collide with the first one. Both rafts would pivot upwards. The first would end up settling back onto the support rails in a level manner. The raft carrying Kate, Luke, Roosbay, Cindy, and the children would end up in a vertical position. In order for you all to better understand exactly what happened, I'm going to now read a transcript from the official Coroner's Court of Queensland. Raft 5 traveled through the watercourse without incident before being picked up by the conveyor at the end of the ride and moved towards the elevated unloading area. At this time, Raft 6, which was dispatched in front of Raft 5, became stranded on the steel support rails situated at the end of the conveyor near the unloading area. Raft 5 continued to travel on the conveyor, where it collided with Raft 6 before being lifted and pulled vertically into the conveyor mechanism. The children, who were seated at the top of Raft 5, were able to free themselves and escape to safety. Miss Goodchild, Miss Lowe, Mr. Dorset, and Mr. Aragai were caught in the mechanism of the ride and were either trapped in the raft or ejected into the water beneath the conveyor. The ride operators and some patrons immediately responded to the incident, attempting to assist those trapped in the raft and in the water course. Emergency services were contacted, and various Dreamworld staff responded to the incident. Unfortunately, all attempts to provide medical assistance to Miss Goodchild, Mr. Dorset, Miss Lowe, and Mr. Aragai were unsuccessful, and they were declared deceased at the scene. Following this horrific tragedy, it would take emergency services well into the following morning early hours to recover the bodies. The most horrifying statement I saw in all of this was that some paramedics following the incident required counseling due to the trauma of working on scene. From what I have gathered based on all the reporting and information out there, was that 2 of the passengers drowned, and 2 of them were crushed during this horrific ordeal, while numerous family members looked on in horror, unable to do anything to save their loved ones. After the accident, a massive investigation would begin. In July of 2020, it was announced that 3 charges had been laid against Ardent Leisure, Dreamworld's parent company. On the day before their scheduled trial, on the 28th of July, 2020, Ardent Leisure would plead guilty. They would be fined $3.6 million for the breach of the Work Health and Safety Act. In addition to this fine, they would end up paying out more than $5 million to the families of those lost during this tragic accident. Following the accident, Thunder River Rapids would be shut down and was subsequently demolished. A memorial garden for the victims was built near the site of the Thunder River Rapids ride. As I preached about in a prior story, safety needs to be made a priority at all amusement parks. From my research, there had been numerous reports of similar situations occurring on the Thunder River Rapids ride over the years. From my understanding, the ride's safety had not really been looked at or updated in around 30 years. Other close calls had occurred on the ride, and if those situations had been acted on by the park, then this sheer tragedy may not have taken place. I've covered many cases on the channel, and this particular one really affected me. It all could have just been prevented. What transpired that day in October of 2016 was not just traumatic for those who lost their lives, but traumatic for the families, the children, the onlookers, and all those that had to respond and attempt to provide aid following what happened. As always, my deepest condolences go out to all the families who have ever lost someone due to an amusement park accident. Deborah Smith was a 47-year-old woman from Arkansas. On the morning of August 24th, she began her day the same as many before it. She woke early and began delivering the Southwest Times newspaper. Deborah delivered the paper daily throughout Fort Smith, Arkansas. Fort Smith is a city that sits on the Arkansas River, located in northwest Arkansas. Fort Smith was originally established as a Western frontier military post back in 1817. It also became known as a center for fur trading in the region. The city developed from there and became well known as a base for migrants settling in the Wild West and for its law enforcement heritage. As Deborah began her paper route, the skies opened up and torrential rainfall began. As the rain continued, flood advisories would go into effect. It wouldn't take long before Deborah would become a victim of Mother Nature's unyielding wrath. At 4:38 a.m., August 24th, 2019, Fort Smith police received a phone call from Deborah Stevens. The full phone call has been made available online if it is something you're interested in checking out fully. It is around 20 minutes long, so for the sake of this video, I will only play some segments from it that I feel lay out the story. At the time the call came in, Deborah had been driving her sport utility vehicle when out of nowhere, her car was swept away within some dangerous flood waters. The SUV would become trapped amongst a cluster of trees, and the water would begin to rise at an alarming rate. Deborah would first call a family member and subsequently place the following 911 call. I want to be clear, this call is not for the faint of heart.
I have an emergency, a severe emergency. I'm in a flooding. My car veered off the road while I was doing my newspapers, and I'm flooded over here on the end of Kincaid, and it's all the way up to my windows, and I can't get out, and I'm scared to death, ma'am. Can you please help me really bad?
I need you to calm down. I need you to tell me where you are.
I don't know, ma'am. I'm on the end of Kincaid down here by these apartments. There's some apartments on Kincaid. I don't know what they're called.
What color is your vehicle?
Avenue. On the other side of Kincaid, at the very end of Kincaid Street, there's some apartments. And
do you have a dark blue car, is what I'm asking you? What color is your vehicle?
Yeah, dark. It's gray SUV, lady. The water's all the way up to my windows.
Okay, hold on for me. Don't hang up.
And it's coming in my windows. I mean, I'm floating in water right now, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I need help right now. I'm soaking wet. I'm sick, and I don't know what to do, ma'am.
Okay, what's your name?
Debbie Stevens, please help me. I don't want to die.
You're not going to die. Hold on for a minute.
Well, I'm scared. I'm sorry. I didn't know the water. I couldn't see the water when I came up on it, man. It just all of a sudden hit me.
And you're in a gray van?
I'm in a gray SUV, a Mazda CX-9. Yes, I'm a paper person. Please send somebody fast to get me. I'm scared.
Okay, listen to me.
I can't swim. I can't swim. I'm going to drown.
You're not going to drown. Just calm down.
Well, ma'am, it's all the way up to my chest.
Okay,
please hurry.
I understand. Hold on for me.
I'm scared. I'm sorry.
It's fine to be scared. You have a right to be scared.
I'm scared. How long is it going to take?
I don't have an officer available, so it's going to take a minute. So I'm going to try to get somebody out there to you. Just hold on, okay?
I'm going to die. It's all the way up to my windows. I'm going to die.
You're not going to
die.
Listen to me, Miss Debbie. Just stay on the phone with me. I'm going to get somebody out there to you. Just hold on and don't hang up.
I'm going to die, man, because it's going to run my phone, because my phone's going to get wet. And there's people over there watching me, and they're probably laughing, and they're over there looking at me.
People are looking at you, and they're not going to help you?
Two sets of cars over there, and they're just all looking at me like I'm stupid. I couldn't help it. I lost it. They just started pulling me down the road.
Okay, hold on.
How long is it going to be, please,
Listen to me. Listen to me. I need you to calm down and hold on.
Okay? I'm scared, man.
I understand that you're scared, but there's nothing I can do sitting in a chair, so you're going to have to hold on, and I'm going to send you somebody, okay?
Okay.
I'm on the phone with this female. She's stuck in a van. She's on a paper route.
I'm in an SUV.
And she's got water up to her chest. What color
Sounds
is it?
like it. Oh, please help me.
Ladder 1, be advised, it'll be a gray SUV.
And I've got my lights on inside. You can see me. I'm sorry.
You're not going to die. I don't know why you're freaking out. It's okay. I know the water level is high.
Scared.
I understand that. But you freaking out doing nothing but losing your oxygen up in there. So just calm down.
But are they not going to come get me?
You said what? I'm sorry?
When are they going to be here?
As soon as they get there.
Well, how long is that going to be before I die?
Yeah, I know.
Man, my phone's gonna die, and they're not gonna find me, and it's gonna ruin my brand new phone.
Do you really care about your brand new phone? I mean, you're over there crying for your life. Who cares about your phone?
I need to get out. I need to throw up. I need to throw up right now.
Well, then you're in water. You can throw up. It's not going to matter. If you got throw up on yourself, they'll still help you.
No, my car is fixing to catch on fire.
How if it's underwater?
It's turned on, and I can't turn it off.
Your car's not going to catch fire in water. It's better that your vehicle is ruined than you being swept away and nobody knows where you are. So just stay on the phone
I'm
with me,
going to
okay?
be swept away because my mom
No, you're not. You have nowhere to be swept away to besides the street that you're on. So just calm down, okay?
Well, I'm at the end of a street, but man,
Right, no, I'm looking at it right now, and at the end of the street is some bushes, so you'll be just fine.
Man, it's getting all the way up to my chest, and
I know the water's up to your chest. Just stay on the phone with me, and I have an officer and the fire department coming out to you. So just hold on, okay?
Thank you. I'm sorry if I'm rude, but I'm scared.
You're not being rude. I know you're scared. Just calm down for me.
I'm scared. I've never had anything like this happen to me before.
Well, this will teach you next time. Don't drive in the water.
Couldn't see it, ma'am. I'm sorry, or I wouldn't have.
I don't see how you didn't see it. You had to go right over it, so.
No, ma'am. I was in a truck. I was in a parking lot. There was no water where I was at.
Okay.
And when I got to the end of the parking lot, I was looking for the road to get out into the main road. When I got to the main road, it was too late. There was water, and I couldn't see it fast enough.
The water just didn't appear.
I didn't see it fast enough. My headlight went out, and I couldn't see it.
Okay. It's okay. We'll get you help and get you out of there. Just hold on, okay?
Okay, ma'am. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Water, ma'am. I can't hear nothing.
Okay, well, don't cry, and then don't talk, and then let me know if you hear the fire department.
Oh, what?
The fire trucks. Tell me if you hear the fire trucks.
No, ma'am. All I can hear is rushing water. I see flashing headlights over there, but I think that's somebody's car. I hope they're not broke down, too.
Literally, 5801 Kincaid is what she said. No, she doesn't see her, and I don't hear the apparatuses either. Miss Debbie, you're going to have to shut up, okay? I need you to listen.
Sorry.
Listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you start your is your car still on there? Like, can you honk your horn?
My horn is dead.
Okay, hold on for me.
My horn is dead.
Okay, hold on for me.
Everything is dead.
Listen to me. Hold on.
Ma'am, please.
Hold on for me. Hold on. Ladder 2.
Oh, my God. Ma'am, it's all the way up.
Okay, I know. Listen to me. They are in the area. They are trying to find you. They cannot find you right now. I'm trying to ping where you are, so do not hang up because this 911 call is helping me ping your location, so don't hang up on me. Okay, where are you moving to? Tell me where it's going. Okay, tell me where you are. Listen to me, hold on. I'm on the phone with her right now. She is legit freaking out. She said the vehicle is now moving in the water and she doesn't know which way it's going, so stand by. Bye. Bye. Bye.
As you can hear within the phone call, Deborah is in an absolutely nightmare of a situation. As the waters continue to rise, you can hear how panicked and scared she is. Sadly for Deborah, numerous other 911 calls would come in around the time with people in similar scenarios. On top of that, locating exactly where Deborah was initially a struggle. Deborah would tragically succumb to Mother Nature's unbiased wrath. What ultimately didn't help matters is the manner in which the 911 operator speaks to Deborah. A lot of criticism would be levied later at the 911 operator, whose name is Donna Renault. To add further context, Donna had given her resignation and was in the process of completing her final shift as a 911 operator. After this incident, an internal investigation would be completed, and Donna was found to have violated policy by being extremely rude to Deborah. But sadly, nothing was done further, as Donna had already resigned from her position. The sheer lack of humanity shown to Deborah in this situation is just unbelievable. My sincere condolences go out to Deborah Stevens and her entire family. Adam Johnson was an American professional ice hockey player. He would go on to play a total of 13 games in the National Hockey League with the Pittsburgh Penguins during the 2018-2019 and 2019-2020 seasons. He also played in Europe with the Malmö Redhawks, Augsburger Panther, and Nottingham Panthers. Adam Johnson was born on June 22, 1994 in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. He would play junior hockey in the USHL. He would go undrafted and went on to play 2 seasons of collegiate hockey. Following his collegiate hockey stint, he would go on to sign an entry-level contract with the Pittsburgh Penguins following the team's prospect camp. He would go on to play a total of 13 games before taking his talents over to the SHL during the 2020-2021 season. In April of 2021, Adam Johnson would then make a return to North America, where he would go on to sign a contract with the AHL Ontario Reign, the Los Angeles Kings' primary affiliate. He would finish out the season there and continue to play in the AHL during the 21-22 season. Following this North American stint, he would go back over to Europe to play a season for the Augsburger Panther. In August of 2023, he would sign with the Nottingham Panthers of the EIHL and begin his 2023-24 season with the team. That leads us to October 28th of 2023. The Nottingham Panthers were playing the Sheffield Steelers at Utilita Arena. At around the halfway mark of the second period, Adam Johnson would have the puck. He would proceed to take the puck and cross the blue line into the offensive zone. As he did so, Matt Petgrave, a defenseman for the Sheffield Steelers, would line up to lay a hit on Adam. As he went in to make the hit, his back left skate would lift into the air and connect straight into Adam Johnson's throat. It would become immediately apparent to all watching that Adam was in a dire predicament. As Adam made his first attempt at standing up, a dark pooling of blood would be visible all over the ice surface. He would stumble face down onto the ice and would proceed to make a second effort to stand. Fellow teammates would make all efforts to then rush Adam off the ice. At this time, you can see blood soaking the front of Adam's jersey. For the sake of YouTube's guidelines for monetization, I will not be showing the entire video that coincides with this tragedy. But if you want to view it, you can do so in numerous different places on YouTube. Following this incident, Adam would be rushed to a nearby hospital, where tragically, he would succumb to his injuries. Adam Johnson's death would send reverberations throughout the hockey landscape, with a new focus on safety and neck guards being at the forefront. A simple neck guard may have been enough to save Adam's life. This also brings back memories of Teddy Balkind, the young high school player who fell to the ice and had a skate blade slash into his neck. Another tragic situation that may have been prevented with a pretty simple garment that goes around the neck. Following this tragedy, my hope is that safety and neck guards will be mandated at some point. There is no reason we have to watch another hockey player die by means that can all but be prevented. Also following this incident, Matt Petgrave would go on to be charged with manslaughter. Some believe that what transpired was a tragic accident, while others believe Matt purposely lifted his foot into the air. No matter where the truth lies, everything needs to be done to protect hockey players. As the case is still ongoing, the last update I have is that Matt Petgrave was released on bail as the investigation continues into the matter. As always, my deepest condolences go out to the families of Adam Johnson, Teddy Balkind, and any others who have had to endure such a terrible loss. It was Wednesday, January 19th of 2022, in the small village of Vera, which is located just south of St. Petersburg, Russia. A 40-year-old lawyer named Anna Usova and her husband Yuri were both taking part in the long-practiced traditions associated with the holiday of Epiphany. For this year's celebration, the decision was made to take the icy plunge in the rather dangerous Oredez River. Now, to give context, this tradition is practiced yearly, and a majority of the time it is done in a safe manner. As you can see in the picture, these holes are cut into the ice, and in a lot of cases, stairs are utilized to help people get in and out. Also, depending on the situation, some folks taking the plunge will wear a rope to ensure nothing goes wrong when they go under the water. For Anna and Yuri, a night of celebration would quickly turn into a straight-up nightmare. It was -5 degrees Celsius or 23 degrees Fahrenheit. As you see in the video, despite the frigid temperature, Anna was dressed in a one-piece black swimsuit. As she prepares for her jump, she can be seen making the sign of the cross, after which she takes a step, plugs her nose, and proceeds to dive feet first into the dark water below. Now, I want to warn again that viewer discretion is advised. I will play the video in its entirety, but it is not for the faint of heart.
Ребята, ушла быстрее! Быстрее все сюда! Все сюда! О! Туда, Юра! Юра, туда!
As you can see within the video, within seconds of Anna taking the plunge, an attendant calls for help. You can then see what is believed to be Anna's husband Yuri go running into the water in an effort to rescue his wife. The most heartbreaking part of the entire video is the sound of the kids crying out for their mama as attempts to locate Anna turn up nothing. Following the incident, rescue divers would arrive on scene in an effort to locate her body, but after numerous searches, Anna was unable to be located. It was reported at the time that the river's current was moving at a rate of 10 feet a second when Anna jumped in. In what seems like a millisecond, the current pulls her away from the hole in the ice and down the dark river. There simply was no chance of rescue from the moment she took that fateful jump. It wouldn't be until 9 days later, on January 28th, that Anna's body would finally be located. According to all reports, the body was found 150 meters from the Rozdestvensky Bridge downstream, a full kilometer, or a little more than half a mile, from the ice hole. My deepest condolences go out to her entire family, as no one should have to suffer such a horrible fate. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode. If you enjoy the content, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps the channel continue to grow. Also, you can check the description box below and find the link to my merch store. Tons of awesome designs, and the proceeds help fund the channel. For those of you that are interested, I have a Cellar Dwellers membership tier for the channel. It's $2.99 a month and comes with some pretty cool perks, so if that interests you, then please go check it out. I also have that linked in the description box below. If you'd like to submit a real-life scary story that you would like featured on an episode on the channel, please do so using the email linked in the description box below. As always, I do all the research, writing, recording, and editing for the channel myself, so anything that you do to support the channel is greatly appreciated. Until next time, I will see you all again as we head back into the cellar.